Hi, I'm Mina Suvari, and you're listening to the Horror Squad podcast.
Hello, welcome back to the Horror Squad podcast, episode number 268. Tonight we're talking about M. Night Shyamalan's 2023 release, Knock at the Cabin, currently in theaters and on demand. I'm winner co-host Todd. We have Steve. We have Joe. Men, boys, fellas, guys, dudes, any other?
Meatballs.
Yeah, meatballs. Droogs. Is Droogs a word? Is that from Clockwork Orange?
It is,
Yes.
Okay. How you guys doing?
Fantastic. I'm ready for Monster Mania. The day of this recording is when I'm heading out. So, yeah, super excited. If anyone's going to be there, come say hey. You'll see me. I'll be doing Freddy. So, if you see basically a Freddy with the Chest of Souls, Art the Clown, but there'll probably be a million Art the Clowns, and the Creeper from Jeepers Creepers, come say hey. I'll be there Friday and Saturday. It's going to be super fun. Good time. I've decided to meet the Undertaker, get his autograph. So I'll probably be in that line most of the day Friday, but we shall see. Supposedly he signed super fast, so I'm hoping I can get him done within like an hour. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'll give a whole breakdown of it next week.
That's awesome. I'm doing good. I'm actually recording from South Carolina. I'm in Myrtle Beach right now, and I will be for a little while. So long ass drive, 17 hours of driving, and I am fucking exhausted. I just got in a couple hours ago, but I need to give a shout out here. One of our listeners, Dr. Guts, sent a recommendation. So his wife has a true crime podcast. So I was looking for some podcasts to fill my time on the road, and it's called Devil's Food, a true crime kitchen and podcast. And honestly, it's fantastic. I really enjoyed it. So please, if you like true crime type stuff, check it out. It's on all the podcast networks. I watched it. I listened to it on iTunes, and it really filled my time for the first half of my drive. Unfortunately, they're only like 6 episodes, so I didn't have enough for my whole drive, but I truly enjoyed it. It's 2 women who do it, and they have great rapport, and I'm amazed at how good their podcast is for being so early. Like, our podcast sucked when we first started, sound issues, and it's just I'm very impressed. So check it out. Yeah, it's awesome.
Awesome. I would recommend to Steve for your ride back, Sword and Scale. They are a fantastic true crime podcast. It's just one guy who does it, but they have a ton of police phone calls and interrogation videos and stuff. And yeah, it's me and Sam's favorite true crime podcast. So definitely check that one out if you haven't yet.
Yeah, I definitely will. It's a long drive, so it just kind of occupies your mind as you go through these long ass stretches of road. And it was an interesting drive, though, I gotta say, because where I live, I had a snowstorm on the Saturday, and I'm at the point now on my yard where I have to shovel over my head because my snowbank is above my head. It's about 7 feet high. And driving down and slowly seeing the snow get lower and lower until I hit about Pennsylvania, and then there was no snow left. And then it becomes a thing where the grass starts getting greener and greener, and the trees fuller and fuller.
It's America welcoming you, buddy.
Yeah, it was fucking cool. So I love that part of it. It was interesting. A lot of interesting stuff on those drives. All kinds of billboards that are interesting, and stores and stuff like that. So it's fun.
I saw the funniest sticker the other day, not to alienate anybody, it's not my intention, but it was just so funny. It was a 3-parter, and the top said God, middle, guns, and then the last one, can you guess it?
Oh,
Trump.
I saw so many of those.
I think it's oh man, I can't. Any political stickers is just crazy to me, but that's so funny.
Dude,
God's guns, Trump. I'm like,
there's an emporium right next to my hotel that is just Trump stuff, and I don't care where you politically lean. I really don't. but to like idolize a politician to me is weird. I don't care
Yeah,
what politician it
absolutely.
is. I would never
Yeah.
have a fucking, let alone a sticker of any politician. It's just not my
Yeah.
thing. But hey, that's what, floats
Do
your
what you
boat.
gotta do.
Yeah.
It's like those pop-up shops, like if your local football team's going to the playoffs, like random dudes will print out shirts and stuff and make a killing. So hey, it's fucking selling because it's like 6 years later and they're still selling shit. So hey, you do you.
Yeah.
All right. You guys ready for some questions?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it.
All right. You can ask us those questions on social media at the Horror Squad Podcast, or of course, you could join our wonderful Discord, absolutely free of charge. Great people, great conversations all the time, all hours of the night. It's crazy sometimes. You put the phone down for a little bit, you pick it back up, and there's 110 messages of people who chatted about whatever it is they're chatting about. So pretty awesome in there. First series of questions, as always, is audio from our boy Chuck. So Chuck, what is your first question?
Hey Horror Squad, Chuck here with a few questions. First question, what is the best way to get rid of solicitors or unwanted guests?
Ooh, tell them you're renting the house and they will just walk away. Because like if they're selling like an alarm system or something, be like, oh man, I'm just renting, dude. And then it's like, oh, okay, that works.
Yeah, I like that. That's a really good one. I usually just say, oh, this isn't my house. Like I'm just house sitting, and usually that works.
Special Todd tip too. If someone's selling an alarm system and they ask you like, hey, do you have like window break alarms? Don't answer them. It might be some guy
Right.
casing your place.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So it might not be what I look like, the type of person that would do this, but I totally do. So when you open my front door, there's a spooky sound that comes out. It comes out of my alarm system. That there's like an option to change it to like a spooky sound every time you open the door. And I'll always answer with something like, "Are you here for the blood?" Or just something that like makes them kind of freaked out by me. And they usually leave me alone after that. Especially like there's a certain typical group of people that come to the door every once in a while that are there to give you the good word, if you know what I mean. And
They're trying to save you, Steve.
yeah, they're here to save me, to tell me that the apocalypse is coming. So it's always good times.
I
But
mean, get the date so you can be prepared.
right. But yeah, I essentially tried to make it as spooky as possible so that they leave me alone, and then tell my neighbors that don't fuck with that house.
Yeah. Or you could always. There was someone who they put or there's a lot of people that do this, but they put the fake ADT sign, like even though they don't pay for the service, they just put the sign out on their front so it looks like they have security when they really don't. Smart idea though, if you don't want to pay for it.
I'd like a house or two ago, I did not like my neighbor. Shout out Bill, old man. But a solicitor came to my house and I was like mowing the lawn, so I couldn't escape. But I'm like, hey, you know who really likes this? Bill. He's my next door neighbor. Like, just go knock on the door. His name's Bill. He went over there, was stuck. It was so fucking funny. Fuck Bill. Shout out to Bill.
Nice. All right, Chuck, what is your second question?
If you could instantly become an expert in one subject, what would it be?
Ooh, loaded question. Ooh, I got nothing here. Go for it, gentlemen.
That's a lot.
I got one. Time to think about it. Economics. Because if I knew the secret to money, I could probably make money without working. If I really knew how to play the stock market like perfectly and I could see all the trends and everything, I feel that I could get rich without really trying all that hard. So economics would be a good subject to master.
Do you guys have Jim Cramer up there?
Yeah, we have
Mad Money.
Mad Money.
Yeah, we have our own version. Yeah, but yeah.
That's a really good one, Steve. I would probably choose like a handy profession, Joe's expert electrician. That's a really good skill to have. But like seriously, like if something goes wrong in your house and you can't fix it yourself, you're fucked because you got to pay arm and a leg to get someone to fix it.
Yeah, but if you're economics, you don't have to do it yourself. You pick someone and not worry about it.
I know. I guess.
I know what you mean, though. Yeah.
Mechanically inclined, I guess. Let's go there.
Yeah. I guess just to be different, I'll say like cooking. Like I'm not really a great cook, but like making like a fucking like Gordon Ramsay style meal every night would be fucking amazing. So yeah, let's go with that. Make a nice beef Wellington.
Nice. I like it. All right, Chuck, what is your final question?
Last question. Now, I think I've actually asked you this before, but if you knew you were about to die, but you got to choose your last meal, what would it be? Thanks, guys. Look forward to the episode.
Ooh. This is always interesting because I always found it really interesting to hear like what like serial killers and like people on
Yeah.
death row have for their last meals. I would just keep it super simple. I would do a large pizza. I don't know what, but like cheese,
Jalapeno
pepperoni, jalapeno, something like that. A side of buffalo wings from Hooters because they're my favorite chicken wings. So yeah,
Hooters
large.
is your favorite wing?
It is my favorite
Wow,
wing. Yeah,
okay.
I really like breaded chicken wings. Like naked ones are okay, but I really like the deep fried ones. So side of Hooters chicken wings, 3 Mile Island sauce, large pizza, and for dessert, ooh, like a pint of Ben and Jerry's ice cream
What flavor?
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have so many good flavors, but my favorite might be caramel sutra because it's got like the big core of caramel in the middle. So yeah, fish food also very good.
Fish food, like lobster and stuff?
What's that? Fish? No, fish food ice cream. It's like chocolate and vanilla ice cream with little chocolate coated like fish things.
Nice.
It's like fish. It's fish food PH. So it's like I think it's like after the band fish, but it's got like caramel and marshmallow in it too. It's really good.
Yummy. On a tangent here, do you guys agree with the last meal for a serial killer? I personally don't. I think he just gets fucking plain white rice that day.
I would tend to agree.
His victim didn't get
Right.
to choose the last meal.
Yeah, I mean, should anyone on death row get a last meal? Really, I don't really understand the thing. They're fucking in there. They're terrible people. Why do they deserve like a really great last meal? Just give them fucking the slop they always get. Fuck them.
You
spend enough
should make
on
them write it out and then give them slop. You know, like
Yeah, make him like pine over it and
yeah.
fantasize. Hey, you want me to go to McDonald's, dude? I got you the. Personally though, I would go a nice country fried steak, like a big fucking country fried steak with the white gravy. Let's do mashed potatoes. Let's do steak fries. Let's throw a double cheeseburger in there too. And you know, I'm not gonna finish all this, but I'm gonna take a bite out of everything. I'm gonna do some chicken wings from this place in Louisville called Granny's. Oh my gosh, I can't think of it now, but smoked wings are excellent. And then for a dessert, let's go a cheesecake with like a nice graham cracker or like crust or whatever.
Nice. It's an expensive meal there.
Hey, if I'm if I'm a death row, taxpayers pay for it.
That's true.
So fuck it.
For me, it would be meatballs with brown gravy, mashed potatoes, and white bread with butter. But
The fuck is we enjoy going all elaborate.
Asterix, it has to be made by my grandmother because that was my favorite meal she used to make when I was a kid. I fucking love it. And it's just one of those things like, you know, is it the best meal I've ever had? No, probably not. But it's like special to me because my grandmother has been making it and she's like 88 now and still making it. And oh fuck, she's a disaster when she makes it now. She's old school, you know, she's like old school cooker. So she'll like smack the fucking burner to see if it's still on or not. And like just God, watching her cook gives me anxiety because she has pots going all over the place. The chances of the house burning down are super high, but she just manages to make it, you know, not burn and make it amazing. So they got that touch, you know. That's
Grandma's
grandmother's
been doing it for 60 years, Steve. Leave her alone.
I know. I don't
fine.
say anything. It's watching it. It's just like, God damn. Crazy.
Are you a meatball guy or just hers? Like,
Oh,
Is that
not
something
not
you
really.
don't
I'm
like?
not that
No?
big of a meatball. I mean, I'll eat meatballs, but it's
Okay.
not like something I'll order at this, you know, store or anything.
Do you guys want to hear? I pulled up some famous
Yeah,
serial
absolutely.
killers' last meals. Let's hear them. All right. So John Wayne Gacy,
Piece of shit. Fuck him.
piece of shit, infamous serial killer, of course. He requested 12 fried shrimp, a bucket of original recipe KFC, French fries, and How's this for your dessert? This is very interesting. A pound of strawberries.
Fucking piece of
Interesting.
shit. I hope he choked on them.
Yes. Another very big piece of shit, Timothy McVeigh, of course, the Oklahoma City Bomber, simply requested just 2 pints of mint chocolate chip ice cream and nothing else. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting here is, did you guys know that there is a traditional last meal? Ted Bundy, infamous serial killer, of course, declined his special meal, and instead they gave him this traditional last meal, which is steak cooked medium rare, eggs over easy, hash browns, toast with butter and jelly, milk and juice. So basically, you get breakfast essentially for your
That's
first
like
traditional last
better than a lot of people that are not as well off get, man. That's so stupid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then there's like a bunch of other killers that I'm not familiar with. One guy, Henry Hargreaves, not familiar with him, but he, interestingly enough, requested rainbow colored pancakes. So there you go. I mean, I guess, whatever, make it a little harder on the
Right.
people cooking this stuff. But yeah, no, so yeah, there you go. There's a few of
Interesting.
our infamous killers that have in their last meals.
That's crazy. All right, Chuck. So thank you very much for the questions. And we now go to Cody, Oddjob versus 007. What other horror novels would you like to see adapted into a movie?
I'm gonna leave this one to Todd because he's the big reader. I'm not much of a reader these days.
Swan Song by Robert McCannon is an excellent post-nuclear war horror book, and I think I'm terrible tonight, but on our Discord we were talking about it too. It's a great follow-up and answer to Stephen King's book there that everyone loves. I forget because, man, I'm going to be terrible at trivia tonight. I can't remember a single fucking thing. But Swan Song is excellent, and I think it's been optioned a few times, but every time it happens, it falls through like with every other project. But Stephen King on the Stephen King thought process right here, it's one called The Long Walk, which has been in development for like 10 fucking years. But basically, it's they get a group of kids and they make them walk, and they have to like maintain a certain speed, or they fucking just get shot in the head. And it's kind of like the Running Man kind of style because it's a game show, it's televised. It'd be super hard to make work though, because it's literally just them walking on the road and having their thoughts and talking and stuff. But it's such a cool book that I would love to see it in the hands of like a capable director. So, The Long Walk.
There was one, Todd, that sounded really cool that you talked about on the podcast maybe like a year or two ago that I think sounded like it would be great for a horror movie. I don't know the name of it, but it was
Haunted Forest Tour.
like, yeah, the Haunted Forest Tour.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
remember
That
you
one
liking
sounds
that one.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Like randomly, this forest like sprouts up in the middle of nowhere, and inside the forest are a bunch of monsters. Like we're talking fucking like Bigfoots and little like creepy goblins and demons and shit. And this company makes money off it, and they give them like armored tour buses with armed guards and shit, and they take people into the forest to like look at monsters. And of course, it goes wrong, and they break in and kill everybody. But it's a super cool story, and I think a lot of people like that. You should read it.
Yeah, I want to. I was looking at the audiobook actually like just a couple months ago, so I think I might pull the trigger and actually give it a listen.
Yeah, I'm going to take this a different way, and I'm going to go kind of left field with this one. But I'd like to see an instructional type video for the Zombie Survival Guide by Max Brooks. Just take it as if you're making one of those like work survival, like something is required viewing for people to survive an apocalypse, and just have fun with it. I think it's a really cool book, the way it's written and everything, and I think it would be kind of a cool thing to see.
So he did something similar, Steve, that I think you would love if you can find it. But on Coast to Coast AM, like the late night alien talk show,
Yeah.
he came on and did a World War Z type of thing where they both pretended that the zombie apocalypse had happened, and he went through like survival methods and things they had to go through. It was really interesting.
That's got to be on YouTube somewhere, so I'll definitely check that out. So the next questions are from Patty. First question: which version you guys like better, The Cabin in the Woods or The Strangers?
Which movie do we like better between those two?
Yeah, or series, or yeah.
Oh, Cabin in the Woods for me. I think it's just a more fun movie.
Yeah, very different. Yeah, I think it really just depends on your mood, right? Like, but I guess the better movie is probably Cabin in the Woods, but I'm a big fan of The Strangers too. But if you had to, if you're making me choose, Cabin in the Woods.
Same thing for me. I'm not a big home invasion guy, so The Strangers, although I think it's a good film, it's not like one of my favorites kind of subgenres of horror. So in this case, I would personally pick Cabin in the Woods. Her next question: what will you guys do in case of an apocalypse in the future? So, how would you prepare for if you knew the apocalypse was coming?
Depends on what kind we're having, right? Like if it's a big ass fucking
I
asteroid and we don't have Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck to save us, like,
right.
yeah.
I'm probably offing myself. I mean, I probably would. Even I don't know, like I like watching The Last of Us. I'm like, and like Walking Dead and stuff. I'm like, do I really want to live in that type of world? Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I really think yeah, I would maybe try it for a little bit and see, but it just seems like such a fucking miserable existence that I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to live in those worlds. Not to get dark, but I mean, that's just my thoughts.
Kill yourself.
Quite possibly, honestly.
How would we prepare? I mean, I think it's very important, like, to prepare it, like, to some degree, like Steve has his crazy winter storms, and over here we have crazy twister weather and things like that. So I think it's very important that you have at least, I forget like the official FEMA recommendation, whatever, but it's gallons of water for every person in your family, things like that. So I always have at least 3 days of supplies for that. Not because I'm thinking zombies are going to attack or anything like that, but it's, power goes out and you don't realize how fucked it is when you can't turn the light switch. So top tip, get some gallons of water and some non-perishable foods and maybe a little camping stove with some burners and all that crap, and you'll be all right.
Yeah, I've gone through, like talked about the ice storms, and you have snowstorms. I went through, yeah.
When you took a shower.
Right? Like, don't start me. I don't want to derail this podcast to like the Twister episode. Yeah, it's just you got to be ready. It's just there's a lot of shit that can happen. As far as if I knew it was going to be my last day, it's the type of apocalypse that you just can't stop. I would live it through, because just on the 0.1 chance that someone would stop it, I'd kind of put hope into it, so I wouldn't off myself. And I tried to live through Last of Us or Walking Dead. Try to make the best of it. I mean, some people seem to live okay lives in those worlds, so it's just a matter of, I guess, your will to live.
Negan had like 9 wives, dude.
Yeah, right, exactly. So thank you, Patty, for the questions. Final series of questions comes to us from Jackie. This movie is about making difficult choices. So a few would you rathers, I'll try to keep them PG. You really don't need to. We are all about the non-PG, but okay, they're PG questions. First one. Would you rather lose all the money you earned this year or lose all the memories you made this year?
I guess I'll throw this back to last year since we're early in the year. That's a tough one, but unfortunately, money is the root of life and of all evil, but I'm keeping the money.
Yeah, we'd be out in the fucking streets if I lost all that money.
Right.
So losing memories.
Unfortunately. Because then we wouldn't remember that great event we had with Omri.
No, honestly, I'm gonna go the opposite. I'd lose my money because I went to California, met some amazing people there. I went to Salem, met some amazing people there. We went to Maine. That was a super great trip. Like all within 6 months, we went to Halloween Horror Nights. Like last year was fucking amazing for me anyway. So I wouldn't want to lose that year. Now, if it's 2023 so far, fuck it. I want my money. It hasn't been that memorable so far, but it's been just winter storms and fucking like bullshit. But yeah, hopefully the rest of the year picks up.
Yeah, Steve had a rough week. His TV broke for about a week and he didn't know what to
do.
Yeah, no, it's been rough.
Has that been fixed?
Yep, yeah, it's fixed.
Oh, nice. Okay,
yeah,
nice.
It was under warranty, so I always think of the warranty, but when it's something like that, you got to plan ahead. Speaking of planning, get your warranty, folks.
Yeah, Steve
alright.
doesn't have water, but he has his TV covered.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
good.
That would totally be me. Like my priority screen. Number 2. Would you rather travel back in time and make changes to your life, or travel to the future to prepare for where you end up?
Ooh, that's a great question. So if you go into the future, like, are you seeing like what you're doing?
Yeah, you get to
Like,
watch yourself in the future. You know, like to think Back to the Future.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think I would do that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I agree because you can change things still. Like Marty did in Back to the Future Part 2. He fucks up and like does some illegal insider trading or something, right? And then he fucks his life over, and then he switches it. But blah blah blah. But yeah, I think you go to the future and like, oh, see what you did wrong, and then you can go back in time. Like, all right, don't buy this stock or don't fucking move to Texas, stupid fuck, and stuff like that. So
Yeah. So yeah, again, I'm gonna be different. I'm gonna go to the past and do Biff style. You know, like like this person won this fight and this team won the Super Bowl by this score, and just make myself rich essentially by telling my past self what's gonna happen in the future.
did you marry your high school non-sweetheart too?
No,
Lorraine?
I'm married, so
Well, you gotta change it. You gotta be like Biff completely.
right. Yeah. No, definitely not. All right. Her number 3. Would you rather go to jail for a crime you didn't commit, or commit a crime and never get caught, but live with the guilt the rest of your life?
Fuck, I'll go to Walmart and steal a Kit Kat bar right now, dude. I'm doing that.
Same. Oh, yeah. I'm fine with that. Like, I'll commit the- I mean, I guess it really depends what the crime is. Like, if we're talking like murder or something, I mean,
Still,
it's
probably.
I could probably, yeah. I mean, I could live with it. I think, but I guess it'd be more the fear of getting caught, like eventually. But yeah, fuck that.
Rather
Who you
than
killing?
already
Who you
getting
killing, Joe?
like you're caught in the other scenario, whether
Right, exactly.
you
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'll live with the guilt.
Who you killing? Who you got in mind?
I mean, no one in this moment, but
Incriminate yourself.
what if I do like I know what you did last summer scenario? I don't. You never know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I do the same thing. I mean, it's just like the whole point is not to be in jail. So if you're in jail for something you didn't commit, you're still in jail. So live with the guilt, I guess.
Hey, speaking of books, if we can circle back because I just got one that popped in my mind. Exoskeleton I've talked about before, but this gentleman, he gets charged for rape and attempted murder, even though he didn't do it. And they have this new program called condensed punishment. So, but they don't tell you what it is. So, like, hey, you're either in prison for life or you do a year of really hard time. And he's like, fuck, I'll do a year. They put him in this suit that does torture, like 14 hours a day for a whole year. Psychological. They put bugs on him and let him sting him. They like do the old-fashioned medieval times thing where they like spread their arms and pop them out to the point of breaking, and it's like super fucking brutal. So I think that'd be a cool story too.
Yeah, that'd be fucking crazy. We had 2 more here. Next one. Would you rather be cursed with bad sex for the next 5 years, or not have sex for 1 year?
I mean, sex like pizza, even if it's bad, it's still good. So give me the bad sex for 5 years.
I'm like living the year thing right now, so we'll stick with that.
Yeah, I think a year goes by fast. So, you just
I still got lefty. We're good.
right. And righty when you feel a little frisky.
The stranger.
sit on it for an hour and then do it.
Right. All right. And her final one and the final question for this week. Would you rather watch Kuso on repeat for 72 hours or give up doing the podcast?
Oh, yeah, I guess I'd have to. I'm not giving up the podcast. So yeah, I'll watch Kuso on a loop.
Yeah, watch it with your fucking eyes like open like Alex's the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, two Clockwork Orange references.
Yeah, feeling it today.
We're halfway through. Yeah, I'd watch Kuso 72 hours. Not that big of a problem.
I never made it past 10 minutes though, so that's gonna be a first time watch.
You get desensitized. Like when I watch Kuso, it's fucking disgusting. There's no doubt. But after like 15 minutes, you've already seen like how bad it gets, and it just you become almost like numb to it. It just
right.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Todd's holding
Todd-
up a Clockwork Orange book. Yeah, because he's got
Lovely.
it on the brain.
That book's super hard to read too, because it's in their language, that they speak.
Oh yeah.
Their bullshit fucking
Right.
whatever it's called.
Have either of you guys met McDowell?
Yes.
No, I
And
haven't.
his
No.
800 pictures on his table because
Yeah, he has a lot.
he's
Yeah.
got like 4
Yeah.
tables of fucking prints.
Yeah, him and Romero have had the biggest tables I've ever seen at a con. Carpenter, I'm interested to see what Carpenter's was really big from what I remember the one time I met him. So I'll be interested to see what I bet Raimi will have a big table too because he's done so much shit.
He's done quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But the funny thing about McDowell is he even has nudes of himself on his table.
What? Full dong?
No, it's ass. Like there's a picture of him, and I remember this vividly because it was right in front of him when I got my Clockwork Orange poster signed. It's him bending over and a doctor like with a flashlight up his butt.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it's from I forget.
I had a super awkward moment. Well, witnessed a super awkward moment at a con. It was Camille Keaton who played in I Spit on Your Grave. She was the main girl in that. She had nude photos, but like they were like in like a special binder, so like you could request them. And like this guy like requested them and like went through them and stuff, and then he just like handed it back to her. It's like if you're gonna request the nude photos, like at least buy one to have her autograph it, But he just kind of like looked through it and then like I was like, oh, that's kind of fucking bizarre.
That's creepy.
Yeah, creepy shit.
All right. And as we always do on this podcast, when we talk about the most like creepy and fucking disgusting stuff, we push it to our sponsor because that's the kind of podcast we are. So everybody check out our ad for Deadly Grounds Coffee.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds Coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds Coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Tits, ass, and coffee.
That in that order.
You ready for what watched?
What you guys been watching?
A lot. So I'm going to talk about 2 movies, but they're kind of the same. So I'm going to talk to them in one little segment here. At Mondo, who is Todd and I's co-host on the Let's XP Geek and Gaming podcast, he told me to watch a movie or 2 movies that just came out on Shudder recently called Necromantic. So Necromantic are video nasty films, and I was curious as to why these movies are video nasty films, as I always am. Like, are they actually so gross? And sometimes they're not, sometimes they are. Oh boy, this one certainly is something else. So the story of the first one is very simple. You have a couple, they like necrophilia, they like dead bodies, and one of the guys, he's like a crime scene cleanup crew guy, and he brings home one of the bodies for him and his wife to fornicate with. And the movie is basically them fornicating with this body, and then the girl starts like preferring the body to her husband, and he starts to get jealous about it, and it becomes this whole thing. And finally, spoiler alert, so maybe fast forward like 30 seconds, he kills himself as he's jacking off, because of what happened with the body. A very disgusting film. The body is like, this is not a fresh body. This is a decomposed body. It's like black and blue. It's super slimy. Watching them like screw it is so fucking disgusting. The way it's filmed is very, very low budget as well. And there's like shaky cam whenever there's a like necrophilia scene, which is super gross. I didn't enjoy it all that much, to be honest with you. I'm glad I saw it, kind of checked it off the video nasty list, but it's not one I would go out of my way to recommend. And huge trigger warning, for whatever reason, I still don't understand. They when they're doing one of the scenes with the dead body, they cut to a bunny getting like massacred and then like torn apart, and I'm pretty sure it's like an actual bunny that they like kind of killed on screen and everything. So if you're an animal lover, I would definitely pass on this one. Which brings me to Necromantic 2, kind of the same deal, except this one is about a woman who digs up the body of the first guy from the first movie and starts going with him. But eventually she finds a real boyfriend and she starts like falling in love for him. And she has this conflicted kind of idea is, do I keep doing it with the corpse or do I go with my boyfriend? Because she's a necrophiliac, but at the same time she loves her boyfriend. And eventually she decides that she just can't be with her boyfriend anymore, or with the body anymore. So she cuts the body's head off and cuts his dick off and keeps both, but disposes of the rest of the body. And then there's another surprising type ending. I'm not going to spoil this one. It's it's got a little bit more of a story than the first one. And unfortunately, again, with the friggin' trigger warning, they like dismember a seal and kill a seal for no reason. Like, it makes no sense. Like, why the animal cruelty? It's bad enough that you're showing me this disgusting, slimy, black and blue decomposed body, having intercourse with people. Do I really need the animal cruelty on top of that? I think no. So I gave them both 2 stars out of 5. The first one should have been a 1 star out of 5, but I gave it an extra star because the last scene actually made me laugh out loud because of how ridiculous it was. Whereas the second one's a little bit better. I thought it was closer to 3 stars, but I took off a point because of that stupid animal cruelty scene. So that's Necromantic 1 and 2 over on Shudder.
Gross.
Lovely. I've never seen them. I've always wanted to, and I probably will, even though you didn't love them. It's just something to tick off the box, I think. All right, I got just one tonight. This one you can check out over on Shudder, and it is called Spoonful of Sugar, 2023 release. This one just released very recently. This one is about a young woman named Millicent. She gets a job as a babysitter to a young boy named Johnny, who is essentially allergic to everything in the world. And he's also a mute. He doesn't speak. And the mother has like all these like crazy rules for him because, he literally like can't do anything. He can't leave the house. He can't fucking like eat certain types of foods and all this like crazy shit. So she takes over the babysitting job. And we come to find out that Johnny is a very violent young boy. He is murdering animals and digging them in the backyard, amongst other things. And what we also come to find out is the babysitter also has a dark side to her. She has a lot of mental illness going on. And the reason for the title, Spoonful of Sugar, is because she takes a little dip of LSD like every single day to help with that. So the movie gets into like a lot of like weird hallucinations and like trippy scenes and stuff like that. This movie's so bizarre though. It has such like a weird, like bizarre tone throughout. It's super highly sexually charged as well. There's just like so much weird shit going on in this. Not the way, and like I did enjoy this movie, but like it just seems like so like just not believable. Like all the characters are just like all really like ramped up, and it just doesn't seem like something of this like world. You know what I mean? It's just like really fucking bizarre. But I did like it. I don't think it's anything fantastic. Definitely not gonna make my top 10 or anything like that. I gave it a 3 stars out of 5 over on my Letterboxd. So I think it's a good one-time watch, but not something you have to rush out to see either.
All right. I only have one as well, and this is part of the Horror World Tour. So this was Albania, Kosovo, and Georgia. 20 years ago or so, these countries had some very brutal wars happen in them. And a lot of the film culture right now, a lot of films coming out of this region is like based on those scars, right? So Zana or Zana, I don't know the exact pronunciation, but this one is over on Tubi. It's about a village that's recovering. It's X amount of years after the war, and our main female character is being pressured to conceive, right? She can't get pregnant. And it's a cultural thing too, where the guys are allowed to take other brides just to have children, and the mother-in-law is like really big on like pressuring the lead character to get pregnant, things like that. But like it's rough because this is labeled as a horror movie, but the only real horror stuff in it is like a couple daydreams and regular dream sequences of like violence. Like she goes into a room and all her family's gathered around a corpse that's bleeding and things like that. So that's like where the horror comes from. But it's really about PTSD, like especially when the reveal comes later on that her daughter was killed by the rival uh faction or whatever in front of her. Of course, like you feel for her, like she doesn't want to have another kid. She had this trauma happen to her, and her husband is like doesn't give a shit about her trauma. And I think that's something to do with the culture of this region too, where it's just kind of like women don't get as many rights, you know what I mean? And it was heartbreaking, especially having her performance is so good, and her having to go through her heartache and everything and dealing with every single person that doesn't give a shit about how she feels, you know what I mean? And then the very end was just like a gut punch. And I think Steve added it to his watch list, so I won't ruin the ending. But it had me like fucking depressed. And like every time I think about it, I'm just like, gosh, damn, that movie hit fucking hard. So it's like I said, labeled as a horror movie. I would call it more of a war drama. But over on Tubi, I gave it a 3.5 out of 5.
What was the title of that one again, Todd?
Zana, Zana.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a country I don't have, so that's probably what I'm going to pick for that. All right, so my last one this week is a movie from 2013 that I'm pretty sure Joe had recommended to me at some point. I put it on my watch list a long time ago, and that is Ty West's The Sacrament. So this movie is about a woman who goes to like kind of a cultish camp, and her brother wants to go and visit her, and he brings along a Vice crew. Vice being like, I think it's a magazine or something, or maybe I'm not super sure.
Like an online like news. They make
Okay,
like
yeah, like
yeah,
They do a lot of
videos
stuff.
and
alternative
stuff.
news, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a news crew essentially, and it's documentary crew in this case, and they go with him to this camp where it's this guy named the Father who runs this camp where people give all their money to him, and in exchange they get to live in this place all together. It's a community where people kind of do whatever job they can do to help the community and stuff like that. It's closed off to the world. They have no internet or anything like that. It's very like kind of religious, it's kind of very preachy and stuff like that. And it's about the crew and what the experiences they go through while they're there. This might be a spoiler. To me, it was super obvious where they were going with this from the beginning, but this is basically a fictional reenactment of the Jonestown Massacre. It plays almost beat by beat exactly like it would have in that particular massacre, just with less people involved. If you look at any documentary about that, it's absolutely fucking sick what they did there. So it plays kind of like a smaller version of that, but you have this documentary crew kind of detailing the last days of this place, and it's pretty sick. Like, if because I know the real story, I guess it hit harder than it maybe would have if I didn't know the real story. It was still really tough to look at and tough to see. It was a little unbelievable at times that they kept rolling, like they're getting chased by gunmen and stuff like that, but they always have like their cameras still there and stuff like that. And that's kind of one of the things about like found footage type movies or faux documentary movies, is that there needs to be a reason for them to keep filming. And at a certain point, you're like, they would have dropped the camera by now. It makes no sense. But it was still a cool experience to see. I'd never seen like an account of that story, like a fictional account of that story. I'd only seen documentaries and like YouTube videos of it. So I think if you want to kind of know what that thing was kind of like, this might be a good movie to watch. The Father character is very interesting. He really kind of steals the movie here. There's a scene where the documentary crew interviews him in front of his followers, and you can tell like how he plays both the documentary crew and his followers at the same time, and just see why people are following this guy. And I thought it was a well-made film. I don't think it was like the best film ever or anything, but I would recommend it. I gave it 3.5 stars over on Letterboxd, and I watched it on VOD.
918 victims in Jonestown.
Yeah,
it's crazy. And a freaking congressman, I guess.
Like,
Yeah,
it was a whole thing.
It was Jonestown's wild, man. Like, cause like people like were trying to escape, and they brought the politicians there to like see it, and then they like wouldn't let them leave and killed them before they could leave. It was fucking crazy shit. Yeah, there's a lot of really good documentaries out there if you haven't seen any. I think HBO did one that was really good.
Have you ever listened to the tapes?
Yeah, they're fucking chilling.
Fucking
Yeah.
disgusting. Like, it's
Yeah.
so difficult to. Have you ever listened to them, Todd?
No.
So
What do they do?
they recorded the last hour of after they took the like the juice, you know,
The Kool-Aid.
and he's like preaching while all this is happening, and you'll have moments where it's like, oh, this person just passed away, and you know, telling like, oh, you know, like put it in your kid's mouth, and like you can hear the kids crying. It's like the one of the most chilling audios I've ever heard in my life. I wouldn't recommend it, you know, unless you're really like interested in that kind of like history and just the dark history of the world. It's fucked up. It's a tough situation. So maybe a fictional account like The Sacrament is probably the best way to go instead of watching the real documentaries, because it is really difficult.
What was that one in over here, Joe, where those people the
Oh,
comet was going by?
The Sun Group, or what do they call them?
Haley Bob Comet.
Yeah, they made a
Something like that.
documentary on that recently too.
Yeah, it's like fucking people, dude.
Yeah.
There's one in Canada too. I
Was there?
forget what they were called. Yeah, it was not too far from where my grandparents lived. But it was only, like, I say only, it's a lot. It was like 16 people who killed themselves. But still, you know, it's just
sad.
I don't know, these stupid cults. So horrible.
Yeah, I don't remember where I watched it. I think it might have been the early days of Netflix, where they just had random shit on there. But it was like a dude, he had his own cult, religious, of course, and one of his followers, like, they both got married, a male and a female, and right after they get married is fucking gross, dude. The so-called priest throws himself on the ground because he got a vision from God or something that he needs to have sex with his wife right now. And like, so the guy's wedding day, he takes the woman off and, you know, has sex with her. And then the documentary crew is like, well, why are you still doing it? Like a week later, he's like, well, I'm not just gonna have sex with her once. And it was like so fucking gross. Like, these people, and they're like, I don't know, charismatic, I guess is what you can call it, but definitely prey on people that need help, which sucks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that Haley's cult one was called Heaven's Gate. That was the name of the cult. Yeah, and there's
the website's still on for that.
Is it really?
Yeah, you can go to Heaven's Gate.
Oh, shit.
Like, not all of them kill themselves.
Dang.
It's still active.
That's wild. The HBO did do a documentary a few years ago on that one too. It's called Heaven's Gate: The Cult of Cults. So if anyone wants to see that one.
Yeah, you can go to heavensgate.com, and it's like a 1999 webpage still. It's fucking, wow. I'm on it right now. It's nuts.
That's wild.
Yeah. All right, lighter stuff, trivia.
Yeah, seriously. I'm almost bummed we don't have another sponsor we could throw to and ruin that too.
Bummer.
Right.
All right. Well, the points are as follows: Joe in a strong lead of 19, myself at 13, Steve with 11. We got about 3 more games for first quarter, so let's see what happens. I'll start it off. Because I'm feeling a little off tonight, so maybe I can snap myself out by asking you guys questions first.
All right.
Okay. Not including The Sixth Sense, what is M. Night Shyamalan's highest grossing film?
Ooh. That's oh my god. I'd be between two.
I'm gonna say Split.
I'm gonna go. You said incorrect?
Incorrect for Split. Yeah.
I would go Signs.
Signs is correct.
Yeah, that was my second guess. Yeah.
Can you guys guess the third one? I never would have thought. I've never seen it, but it's The Last Airbender. It's number 3.
Oh, it's terrible.
Oh yeah.
Oh, fuck, it's bad.
I heard it's terrible.
It ruined Avatar, which is the actual name of that series.
It's an anime, right?
It's a super popular anime that he just fucking butchered. I saw it in theaters. It was horrible. Yeah.
That's hit that one, and Lady in the Water are ones I've never seen from him.
Lady in the Water is not very good either.
It's not.
It's interesting though.
Yeah, it's interesting, but it's like he was at that point where he had to do a twist ending, you know, because he had done it for the previous 4 films, and he forced it so hard on Lady in the Water.
Yeah,
There's like
yeah.
a guy who's one big arm and one small arm,
Yeah.
and then he has a guy who's good at puzzles, and it's like so obvious where they were going with it. It was just
Yeah, that's I haven't seen that since theaters, but I remember being like, not great. All right, let's get it. My first one tonight is going to be 3 letterbox reviews.
Oh,
Guess the movie.
Let's do it.
All right. Number 1. Just called my grandparents and told them to fuck off forever.
The Visit,
That is correct.
yeah.
Yeah.
I figured it'd be a night film.
which I still think is a fucking terrible. Well, first, I don't like the movie, but I think the setup is just awful. Like, they hadn't seen the grandparents ever. The mom hadn't seen him in 15 years. You don't give him a fucking picture.
Yeah, seriously.
Come on, man. And the fucking rapper kid. Shut the hell up.
Oh my
please.
god, the rapper kid. Oof. That's in the Hall of Fame of the worst.
Ugh. Would you rather hang out with him or the girl from Psycho Gorman for like 2 days?
Oh, fucking shit.
Or the girl and the little girl in this movie tonight.
Oh my god, dude. Well, yeah, Grasshopper. I'll fucking pick Grasshopper. Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. Probably him, I'd say.
Shut the
He was just too sassy all the time. He just raps badly. Yeah. All right. So this is a pretty easy one, but I didn't have a lot of time and I was tired today. Who played Hannibal Lecter in Manhunter?
Oh, it's a good movie too, especially the ending. Oh god,
I don't think I've ever
I got
seen
his
it.
head in my I got his face in my mind.
Well,
I
that
just
doesn't
can't
help.
well, can I describe the face?
No.
Yeah, you describe it to me. Maybe I could get
No,
it.
you shut up.
Right.
Oh,
wow. I thought this one is a slam dunk.
I've never seen it.
Really?
It's
Oh, you
good.
should check it out. It's
Yeah.
interesting to see Hannibal Lecter played by someone else, and knowing that it was before kind of excuses it because it's not like
It's like a prequel.
it's
Red Dragon essentially,
Oh, okay.
but
Red
with
Dragon's good too.
William Peterson as like the cop, the Grissom from CSI Vegas. Are you guys good?
yeah, I
Yeah.
got his face. I can't name.
It's Brian Cox.
Brian Cox.
Son of a bitch,
Monkey.
dude.
He plays
Oh,
a
I
good
just-
Hannibal Lecter. It's just he got
It's a good movie.
overshadowed so bad by.
I just started on Succession actually, the first season. It's been
Nice.
pretty good. Brian Cox.
He's a good actor.
Shut up. Yeah, he is really good.
Mhm.
He also had a monkey jail in Planet of the Apes.
Right.
As well.
That's right.
Okay. Steven
ready?
Todd. Oh, is it my turn? Okay.
No, it's my turn.
okay.
That's
All
it.
right.
Okay, 3 letterbox reviews. Number 1.
All right.
I was pissing myself in the theater when the guy behind me yelled, "Oh my god, that's the guy from Narnia." Number 2.
Split.
Correct.
Oh.
That's the first movie I saw him in, actually.
Split?
No, Chronicles of Narnia.
Oh yeah, he's like a fucking
He
deer,
played a
isn't he? or something?
half deer, half human.
I just remember there being like a fucking beaver.
Yep, talking beavers.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Match the M. Night Shyamalan cameo to the movie. So I will
Oh.
give
Nice.
you the character name, and you guess the
Oh.
movie.
Christ.
Okay. M. Night played in this movie the character of Ray Reddy.
Knock at the cabin.
Incorrect.
Fucking selling whatever he was selling on
Ray
infomercial.
I'm gonna go The Village.
Incorrect. The correct answer is Signs.
Sorry. Oh, he plays the dude that kills his
He
wife.
kills his wife.
Yes. Yeah. His
Fucking
biggest
M. Night.
role, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was he selling in this movie? I forget.
He's just a what was he? I don't remember. That would have been a good
Oh
one.
yeah, it was like chicken, wasn't it, or like an air
It's a chi-
fryer? I think
Oh,
with
it
an
was
air
an air fryer.
fryer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
Base the movie or guess the movie based on the letterbox review.
Okay.
I found the plot to be too predictable and it had a weak lead performance.
I have a guess already, but I'll wait.
Alright.
Say it. Do it.
No.
Pulling off mostly single location films is always tricky, but this movie did a decent job of it.
That's my review.
No,
Is it?
no,
No, it's not. Okay, all right. I feel like that's something I wrote in a movie.
Single
It's
in a
not.
letter movie.
film. Week.
Okay, last one. This was a really cool take on Lovecraftian horror. Super simple yet very effective.
Hey, that one's mine.
That
Glory.
one's yours.
Yeah.
Glory. Yeah. That was the three of us, actually.
I was
What
like,
did-
I
what
know
did I
these
say?
sound really
It was-
familiar.
It was the first line of all three of our reviews. So yours was, I found the plot to be too predictable and it had a weak lead performance.
Oh.
I don't know. I like that style that you're starting to make our reviews as.
Yeah.
See if we can remember our own reviews.
I'm gonna put like a hot topic word in all my reviews now.
Right. Right,
Okay. Okay. Name the movie based off 3 actors. Actor number 1, or actress, I should say, Robin Wright, who plays Jenny
Yeah.
in Forrest Gump.
Mhm.
Actor number 2, Bruce Willis, who plays John McClane in Die Hard. If you didn't know who Bruce Willis was. Actor number 3, Samuel L. Jackson.
Unbreakable.
Gotta go to the tapes. I don't know.
Yeah, it's gonna.
I-
It's really
I-
close.
yeah, it's close. I'm not getting both you motherfuckers point either. So
No. I'll check it on the and report back.
yeah, that which is M. Night's favorite one of his movies.
I
think
don't.
it's-
I
yeah,
don't remember
I really
Robin
like
Wright
it.
in it.
I don't
I don't
either,
either.
but she was in there.
Is she the wife? Of,
I have no fucking
Bruce
clue.
Willis
I
in
just
it?
looked on IMDb.
Yeah.
I can look real quick.
I think it's a brilliant movie. I just don't
I
remember.
think it's
yeah.
great. Yeah.
she's
She was
gotta be the
pretty
wife.
young. She was still pretty young in that, right? Because Unbreakable's
she-
pretty old.
Yeah, she plays Audrey Dunn. Yeah,
Yeah,
Bruce
the
Willis's
wife.
wife.
Yeah.
Okay, the wife.
I haven't
Hey.
seen that since like release. I think one time.
It's a good. It's a very good one.
Hmm Back to me.
That's it. Yep.
All right. Last one. Stephen Todd's favorite. Match the killer to the movie.
Jeez.
Tonight we have Kevin Wendell Crumb.
Oh, that is Split.
That is correct.
Yeah, I
It
couldn't
is
fucking name
Split.
it.
All M. Night.
Yeah, I
trivia
figured.
questions.
I was trying to think of which M Night films had a killer
Yeah.
in it. And I didn't think you do Split twice. That's why I took it out of my list. All right, so I'm trying off a new game. Okay,
Okay.
let's see if you guys like it. I think it's fun.
45-second trivia. Here it comes.
This is something I do all the time, and I figured I'm going to use it now for trivia.
Okay.
So this is guess the movie based off the parental guide on IMDb. I'm going to give you
Love it.
one piece per subcategory
Okay.
of IMDb and see if you guys can
So
guess.
nudity, violence, and all that.
Right, exactly.
Got it.
Sex and nudity. A character performs a striptease to attract a demon, but stops just shy.
Night of the Demons.
Wrong.
Fuck. Now I can't answer until fucking Joe goes.
Violence and gore. A character has a large amount of blood vomited into their mouth by a demon.
Oh, I got it.
Okay.
Fuck. Joe, hurry up and get something wrong.
Alcohol, drugs, and smoking.
Come on, Joe. Fucking stop fucking around. I
A
know you want to get something.
succubus smokes cigarettes to entice a former smoker.
All right. I got it.
And finally, you got one. There's one more. Frightening and intense scenes. The general tone of this film is comedic, although some of the gore and jump scares might be too much for some.
All right. Don't say anything else for this freaking turd because
Well,
I got it.
That's all 4 subcategories of IMDb.
That sounds really fucking familiar, especially the blood.
It's not. It's like a Japanese
Grow up.
film that you're not going to get.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. It's actually a Korean film that we watched 2 years ago. but we
Ah,
don't remember.
you're fucking me up, Todd.
Remember that J horror that you really liked? Remember
Is
Audition?
it- God, is it
It's not.
Todd, you're
Rutger
fucking
Hauer's
me
in
up,
it.
man. Now see, Todd's fucked me up so bad. I had a movie, and now I'm just gonna say another movie.
Remember Pennywise the Clown? Dancing Clown, actually.
Is it Evil Dead?
Wrong.
It is Cabin in the Woods.
Wrong.
What?
Oh.
No! I'm so confident.
All right.
Wait, can I guess one more?
Yeah, and then I'm going to give you guys a hint and you get one last guess
Okay.
each.
Okay.
I'm so
My,
confident with it.
My other guess is Drag Me to Hell.
Wrong.
Okay.
So my last hint is that we reviewed this movie on the podcast.
Okay,
Hmm.
can we go through them again? Because I was so happy. I thought I had it.
Sure. I'm not going to put them in the same order because I don't have them in the order, but the frightening one was the general tone of this film is comedic, although some of the gore and jump scares might be too much for some. A succubus smokes cigarettes to entice a former smoker.
That one throws me off. I can't.
A character performs a striptease to attract a demon, but stops
Bedazzled.
just shy of nudity.
Bedazzled.
What the fuck is Bedazzled?
Great movie. Wow,
Yeah.
with Brendan Fraser.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
and fucking what's her
All
name?
right.
Elizabeth
And then
Hurley.
last
Yeah.
one, a character has a large amount of blood vomited into their mouth by a demon.
I know that. Like I can picture that
Well,
fucking
we reviewed
scene.
it on the podcast. So
Yeah. Oh, I got it.
what's that?
I think
You got one more
it.
guess.
Chapter 2.
Wrong.
Oh,
Fuck.
good guess. What is it?
You don't. You get up?
I'll get one more. We
Sure.
reviewed it.
Yeah, we did.
Oh God! And there's the fucking throw up in the mouth and it's blood. I can see where you got it. Chapter 2 from.
Yeah.
I really don't know. I thought it was
Right.
Cabin in the Woods.
No. So the movie is porno.
Oh, it's
Oh
porno.
God, I don't even remember reviewing that movie.
Yeah, but we
honestly.
did. I think we
Wow.
did.
We did. We did.
Okay, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's the one. That's the one in the movie theater, right?
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, that movie
Damn.
sucked.
What do you think of that new game?
that's cool. I like it.
I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah, I always look at the at the parental guide. I think it's like entertaining, so
Yeah, I do too.
I might as well use it for for trivia.
Love it.
All right, Tyler.
Is that it?
Yep.
All right. Steve and I tied with 2 apiece tonight. Joe with 1. Joe still in the lead with 20. Myself 15. Steve 13. All right. Knock at the Cabin, directed by M. Night Shyamalan, currently out 2023 on VOD and in theaters. Save your family or save humanity. Make the choice. While vacationing at a remote cabin, a young girl and her parents are taken hostage by 4 armed strangers who demand that the family make an unthinkable choice to avert the apocalypse. With limited access to the outside world, the family must decide what they believe before all is lost. Also based on the book by Paul Tremblay. So we start off pretty. We get right into this film. Actually, we're introduced to Wen, who's of Chinese descent. We learn that she's adopted by her two dads, and we learn that through the backstory. But we catch up with her right in the beginning, where she's in the forest and she's catching grasshoppers. All of a sudden, this very large man, played by Dave Bautista, walks out of nowhere. He's kind of awkward in the way he walks. He keeps looking back behind him, like what's he looking for, things like that. And then he goes up and talks to Wen, and he tells her, like, hey, like, I'm a nice guy. I want to be your friend. And of course, she's, saying, I don't talk to strangers. And he's like, well, I'm here to be your friend, so we're not going to be strangers anymore. But you need to tell your dads that they need to let me in, because you guys need to make a choice. And just remember that none of this is your fault. And then we see 3 other people emerge from the woods, all carrying big old weapons. We got sledgehammer looking things. We got kind of like weird axe kind of items, things like that, makeshift weapons. She runs to the house. Then we are introduced to her 2 dads who are hanging out, chilling. Originally, they don't believe that Wen is telling the truth, thinks that she's like a young girl playing tricks. I think she's 8 or 9 or something in this. And then we hear a knock on the door, and Bautista speaks through it. Hey, you guys need to let me in. Essentially, there's going to be an apocalypse, and you guys need to help us stop it. And of course, they don't listen, and they threaten them with a gun that they don't have, that they're going to fight if you come in. They can't call the cops because they cut the phone line, things like that. And eventually, you hear a bunch of them arguing outside, saying, hey, we're wasting time. We need to get in there now. They break in, and after a scuffle, they overpower the 2 dads, and they tie them up in a chair and tell them, like, hey, basically that we all got these visions. We all saw the end of the world. It starts in 3 phases. The first one is a bunch of earthquakes, tidal waves, things like that. Second one is that there's gonna be a plague released across the world, a bunch of people dying. And the third one, that the skies will fall or something like that and burn the earth. And of course, they don't believe them, and they have to try to convince them. And that's the story. I had read the book, and I give it a 4.5 out of 5 on Goodreads. And I thought it was fantastic. I love the characters in that. The 2 dads are excellent. Wayne is excellent. Our main bad guy, Dave Bautista, is excellent in the book. And then, unfortunately, we get to the movie, and overall, and we'll talk about the differences later, but they were pretty faithful to the book up until the end, where it just went off the fucking rails as M. Night tends to do. And in this one, in the movie, in my opinion, it doesn't go off the rails in any crazy way. It just doesn't take any risks. So that's my ultimate like bummer about the movie. Love the book. Thought the movie was serviceable, but nowhere near the standard that the book set, which is crazy to me, and we'll talk about why later. But overall, enjoyed it, but nothing I'm gonna write home about.
Yeah. I didn't read the book, so I went into this, fairly blind other than the trailers, although I think the trailers do give a lot of this movie away. But overall, like I kind of echo Todd in a lot of ways. I enjoyed it. I think it's serviceable, but ultimately I am left frustrated because I think M. Night definitely played this one too safe. I feel like it was extremely predictable. Like I knew exactly where it was going to go the entire way, and it never veered off that road. It was like a straight road, the whole way. And that, and it was just kind of like disappointing because I think it had potential to be great. And we'll get into it because after watching this, I was very curious to see how the book ended. So I went up and looked it up, and I think the way the book ends, or the way the book kind of goes, was much better than how the movie does it. So I think it's pretty tight though. Like I think the cinematography is great in this. It's really well acted. I appreciated that it got right into it. This movie like wasted no fucking time. Like it immediately got right into it, and never really lets up. But it's just M. Night not wanting to, kind of holding back and not wanting to go places that I think he should have went. So yeah.
So I wasn't like super anticipating this movie, but I like most of M. Night's work, so I was kind of curious as where it would go. I heard that the book was really good, so that was a good thing going for it. And I gotta say, the movie, meh. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I really dug Dave Bautista's performance in this. He's just getting super good as an actor. He's good at everything he's in, so that was awesome. And I also like the gay couple. I thought they were really good in their role. I feel like the characters were too underdeveloped though, because I did not care really about any of them. It just, if they died in the movie, I was just like, all right, whatever. I just didn't care. And I feel like there were so few characters in this movie that they should make me care about them. Like, give me more character development that makes me give a shit if they die, and I just didn't. So that was kind of a problem for me. And I feel like there's a great story here, but I don't know if it was told in a good way. It's like I could see through the bushes that there's something really good there. It's just, I don't know, the story was just so linear, and there weren't any big surprises. There's no like, oh shit moments like at all practically. It was cool to see kind of the apocalypse starting to happen. Like the tsunami scene was really cool. The planes falling out of the sky was really cool, but it was a very unmemorable movie. Like I watched it 3 days ago, and I feel like I barely remember what the movie looked like, because there was nothing that really stood out as being this fantastic thing. So I was like into the mystery. Like I was really curious where it was going. So I was never bored, which is probably my biggest cinema sin, is being bored. So I was never that. But it just kind of came and went and ended. I was like, so I'm kind of in the middle, I guess. I didn't love it, didn't hate it. It was just an entertaining, 2 hours or whatever it was.
Do you know the alternate ending, Steve?
I don't. I'm really curious about it though.
Yeah. Just a couple more positives. I agree. Cinematography was really good. Like some of the shots is fucking like sick. Like, gosh, that was really cool. I like the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse thing that the theme we're going with. The 2 girls and 2 guys. And I'm wondering, like, since I never saw a Harry Potter movie, were you Harry Potter fans excited to see what's his face as Redmond?
Weasley.
Rupert Grint. He actually is currently in Servant, which I'm watching. So like he's really great in that too, which only 2 more episodes left in the series. So shit's starting to get crazy. So I'll do a full breakdown on that in a couple weeks of how if it was worth it or not. But Yeah, I mean, I thought it was cool to see him in this because he's done Servant. And I'm not a massive Harry Potter fan, but yeah, I thought he was good in this. I actually wish he was in it longer. I think
Yeah.
he should. Yeah, he was one of the better, like more interesting kind of characters. And he's from Massachusetts. Shout out.
How
Bedford,
how
Mass.
how was his Boston accent?
I mean, this is fine. They always, serviceable. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's one. And like, and a lot of things are always lost in translation, right? When you're going from a book to a movie, unfortunately. But some of the stuff that was lost, like, made the book good. Like, of course, there's gonna be more backstory in the book. Is you got 400 pages opposed to an hour and a half movie, but a lot of the Redmond stuff was left on the cutting block. They mentioned it here. They talked about how he assaulted him in the bar and things like that, and how they kind of played with like, no, Redmond sent this whole thing up just to fuck with us because we're gay. You know what I mean? But in the movie, they kind of like go through that very quickly. But in the book, it's like a main thing where like Leonard and them argue about it because he's like, all right, what if they're fucking telling the truth that Leonard set this up, a message board in 2023 for this? Like, how is that even feasible? But yeah, they lean into that where it makes you question as a reader, like, oh shit, was Redmond really just that big of a fucking bigot that he would go through all this trouble after serving prison time just to have revenge on this gay couple now because they have a kid? And it kind of puts that in your mind where you're like, I don't know what to believe anymore, which leads into the actual ending of the book where it's so in a pivotal scene in the movie, Leonard and them are fighting over a gun, right? Leonard and one of the main dads, they're fighting over it. It's in their hand, and Leonard just fucking loses it and crushes the dude's hands. But the gun goes off and shoots Wen in the face, killing her. So in the book, it's like, holy shit, they're wrestling, they're fighting, and then boom, and then everything stops. Leonard stops, the dad stop, obviously, and then they take, they see Wen and she's fucking dead. But then it goes right back into it, like, hey, we don't know if the sacrifice counts because it wasn't a willing sacrifice. Like, and then at this point, one of the surviving bad people kills Leonard by beating him to death with his own weapon. And the dads take Wen out and they're just like, fuck it, we're not doing anything. And it leaves it open-ended where, was it truly apocalypse? Did Wen save it by dying? You don't know. And a lot of people, for the reviews, that's their negative about the book, is that it's open-ended. But seeing the different version of the movie where it's closed and like, yeah, they saved the day and everyone's happy, blah, 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 I just didn't like it. I think the ambiguous ending of, one, you have to deal with this fucking heartache of your kid getting shot in front of you. And then two, now us as a reader are dealing with that and we're dealing with like a big question mark. I think it works. And I don't see why he fucking altered it.
I think it's his own sort of maybe things about killing a child, maybe like something just maybe he can't do. It's a very taboo thing to do, but I think this would have made the movie so much. We're missing that like holy shit type moment in this movie. Like I said, it's straight road the whole way. If Wen dies, like it would have been that holy shit moment, would have totally veered that car, and it would have just just punched you right in the heart, because she's seems like such a sweet girl. And I that's what's missing here. And it's just, I feel like Shyamalan's taken risks in the past, but for whatever reason here, he just didn't want to follow the source material. And I think he is a father now, Mitch, and so maybe that was something.
He killed a baby in his last one.
Which one? Old?
Yeah.
Remember did he? I don't remember. Oh yeah, I guess he did. Yeah.
Have sex and then
right.
He dies.
Yeah. Right. So right. And that was pretty crazy, pretty risky. So yeah, I don't know why he didn't want to follow the source material here, but I think it was a huge mistake.
Well, now I'm bummed because I want that ending. I think ambiguous endings can work sometimes to a movie's advantage. I think of, they're not horror, but Inception, the ambiguous ending of that elevated the movie. Total Recall, the ambiguous ending of that one elevated the movie. Yeah. So I think that ending that you described, Todd, would have made more sense to me in this context, because seeing the apocalypse. So do you see the apocalypse happening in the book? Like, do they know that planes are falling out of the sky?
You don't see it as in your face as they see it in the movie. It's still ambiguous because they really lean into, they know the TV schedule, because
Right.
they can't prove, like, some stuff they can't prove. Like, they're just like, Leonard's basically like, trust me, that's it. Like, so
Yeah.
it's never, it's always 50-50. Like, that's
Mhm.
how good the book is that 50% like, oh shit, they could be full of shit. And then the other one's like, yeah, but they got all this proof. It's like, what do you believe? And then it ends.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's what it should have been. Like this, that's what this movie it was missing, was not knowing for sure if the apocalypse was really happening or the whole thing was just a ruse. And we didn't get that at all, because you see planes falling in the sky from outside the cabin. And that shot alone ruins the entire illusion that this could be, something else. And why, I don't know, it just, like, by the end, so having not read the book, didn't know the story, I was still kind of confused, like why, like why this family, like why is this happening, like it's just, I don't know, it just didn't do it for me.
They all got visions of like the cabin, and they showed at the beginning of the movie too, like they're doodling, like they couldn't think of anything else but death. But yeah, like I said in the book, it's much more fleshed out.
Yeah, and that
Right.
goes back to what I was saying. It's like I could see there's a good story here, but I could tell that this wasn't the way to tell it.
hmm Yeah, it seemed really underdeveloped in a lot of ways. Like I felt like a lot of the characters weren't, like I feel like jumping right into it might have been a mistake, because you could have kind of built up, like maybe the beginning of the movie is kind of that attack scene we get in the flashback scenes, and then it kind of builds up with them kind of going to the cabin to get away or something. I don't know, but I just feel like the character, like the development of the characters wasn't great here. Especially the four horsemen characters. Like I think they did a good job developing the family, but the four horsemen characters I think could have used a little more development. So when they were killing themselves, like each other, it would have been more impactful. Also, someone had mentioned too, and I didn't really think of it until I read it, was that all of the kills are pretty much off screen, which is like another reason of not taking any risks, like show some of that death and destruction, and it might have been way more impactful.
Yeah, and they describe it too, like Leonard caves in Redmond's chest, like in front of everybody, and makes them watch, because like this is what happens, if you don't fucking follow the rules. And they also lean into, I forget the Andrew or Eric, which one's which, but the dude that had the concussion. They lean into his like buying it more early on, because he sees like a ghostly figure instead of just like a flash of light. Um, so we also go along with him and his husband arguing, because they leave him alone at night, like they just let him sleep together. So like they're arguing about like it's just, I know it's lost in translation, I guess. They still could have stuck, because that's the thing, like the whole book plays out pretty much like it does in the movie. Like you start off right away in the book too. Like she's playing outside, he comes, they retreat, and then they break in. So like that, all that stuff is like, it's the same thing up until Wen's death. That's when they change things. So bummer. What do you think about her performance though? It was a little off for me.
I mean, I'd hate to knock kids actors,
know,
but
it's-
I think it was a little hairy. It's
Yeah.
not the best. I think they could have found someone maybe a little better, but she was really cute. I'll give her
It
that.
didn't bother
cute
me
kid.
at all. I don't know. It just
Yeah.
There-
it's
There
fine.
was a scene where they were singing in the car that it almost looked like she was looking at like a teleprompter.
Right.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
guys saw that? All right.
Yeah.
I was like, what is she
Yeah.
looking at? Like, that's just the radio. Like, but
Mhm. Yeah, but I mean, I thought the acting all around was like really, really good in this. I liked everyone, but yeah, Bautista I think was the standout, and I'm excited. I hope he sticks like to more serious roles and shit, because
That's what he apparently wants to do. He said in an interview
Yeah.
that's why he's dropping Guardians of the Galaxy or Marvel in general. He says he wants to do more like serious roles, but he is campaigning for Gears of War like really hard right now. So I hope they give him that, because Netflix is developing that, and I think Batista would be like the
perfect.
Marcus Phoenix. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, just a kind of a little side note tangent, something I learned recently that people might find interesting, that I didn't know. This blew my mind. So Lauren Rivera, who we interviewed for Terrifier 2 in October, was the body double for Anya Taylor-Joy in Split. And that was her first job. And I never knew that. And she said that M. Night like really helped her with her career, and even though she was basically just a body double, and apparently he like really helped her through the process, showed her like what things were and explained some stuff for her. And apparently he's a great director and a great person. Yeah, that blew my mind. Like now that I think of it, like I could see how she can body double Anya Taylor-Joy.
I bet you could. Creeper. I guess ratings. Are we done?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. This is difficult to rate. Like I have it on as a 3 on Letterboxd, because it's not a bad movie. It's just like we've all said, forgettable. So I guess sticking with the 3, maybe a 2.5. It doesn't feel like a 2.5 movie though, so I guess I'll stick with the 3.
Yeah. Even though we were like a little rough on it, I still enjoyed it. Like like Steve said, I was never bored. It went by pretty smoothly. I thought it was acted great. It's just at the end of the day, it's just like frustrating because I think this could have been top 10, maybe even top 5 territory had they made different decisions. But as it stands, it's just kind of a good movie, but not a great movie. So I still enjoyed it. I would still recommend it. I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah, and I'm going to continue my streak of being the Grinch of the podcast. I gave it a 2.5. Like I said, it was just like middle of the road for me. I saw a great story there somewhere. I just don't think this movie did a good job of showing that story. It's just too many holes for me to give it anything higher. But I also wasn't bored, so yeah, 2.5, right down the middle.
Special respect to the author though, Paul Tremblay. Normally, like authors wouldn't be honest about a film adaptation, usually. And he came out and said like he fucking hated the ending. Like, and it, on his newsletter or whatever, he reviewed it because he went to the opening night, and he's like, yeah, I love seeing Redman get his ass kicked, but I hated the fucking ending. So that's cool of him to be honest for a review instead of just fucking pencil whipping it. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but hey, we got like 100 more of these movies to watch this year, so something would be great.
All right.
This is another movie that's rated R that I just don't understand the rating really.
For what purpose? There's
nothing. I can't think of anything that was like more than a PG.
Maybe because Wen was like in danger.
Yeah, come on.
All the kills are off screen. Like I don't remember.
No swearing even that much, like that I can think of.
Wow.
Dude, if Leonard was coaching my kid basketball, dude, I'd be fucking scared of him, dude.
No
drive to the lane. Okay, sorry.
Would you meet Bautista? He was at a con recently, and a couple years ago, and his fucking line was massive.
I bet.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wrestling plus Guardians.
Yeah. Exactly. And now everything else that he's doing, he's going to become unobtainable.
Yeah, he probably won't do many cons anymore.
No, he's working.
It was that con was crazy. It was Gal Gadot was there too. It's fucking they had a lot of star power at that one.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Shout out Rhode Island Comic Con, who gives us press passes every year. So thank you.
Then shout out to them.
Yeah, big time. All right. That is going to be it this week. We hope you enjoyed our review of Knock at the Cabin. Next week we are going to be Toddless, but Steve and I are going to be doing a full review of the entire season of The Last of Us. The season finale is coming up this Sunday, so Steve and I will be doing a full breakdown of that. Should be a really fun episode to get into that show, which is one of the hottest TV shows, going right now for sure. So if you're not caught up, go watch that. You can watch it on HBO Max or just HBO if you want to do it the old fashioned way, 9:00 on Sundays and watch it that way. In the meantime, you can follow us on all of our social medias, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can email us anytime, the Horror Squad Podcast at gmail.com. And of course, the absolute best way to keep up the podcast is our Discord. Just send us a DM on any of our socials, and we will send you a link to get into that Discord. Completely free to join, and it is an amazing community of people. So come in and join that. And yeah, I think that's about it. So we will see you guys next week for The Last of Us.
Bye.
See ya.
Ah.